Hey everybody, welcome to Cooking with Sylv Mac. And today we are going to pan fry some skinless, boneless chicken thighs. But you know what we have to do first? Y'all better grab that glass of wine and let's get to cooking. I've got some skinless, boneless chicken thighs here. I've already rinsed them off. And what I like to do with my chicken thighs is I like to sort of marinate them first for like maybe 20 or 30 minutes. You can do it longer if you want. But what I have in here is I've got 2 eggs. I've got about a cup of whole milk, and I put 4 tablespoons of hot sauce in there. And I've also added about a tablespoon of garlic or fresh garlic, maybe 2 or 3 cloves if you've got it. Now, the other thing I like to do is I like to put some lemon in there, because if you use the lemon with your whole milk, or I actually have half and half because I didn't have whole milk and some 2% milk. If you put lemon or vinegar in there, it'll sort of change it into buttermilk. And of course, buttermilk, when you marinate your chicken in that, it really makes it tender and juicy. So if you put about the juice of an entire lemon, or a couple of tablespoons of vinegar if you have it. Then I'm also going to add a little bit of oregano. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of thyme leaves. And again, I would say maybe about half of a teaspoon. One last thing, I'm gonna add about 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary. So now I'm just gonna go in and put my chicken thighs in there and let it marinate just for about 20 minutes. As you can see, I put it in there. I'm just kind of using my hands and making sure that it's all covered. Let that set for a little while, and that hot sauce and all of those herbs and so forth is gonna make it nice and spicy. So while that is marinating, I'm gonna go in and rinse off my hands, and then let's go over to the stove. Whenever I fry fish, or if I pan fry chicken, peanut oil to me has a really better flavor than just the canola oil or vegetable oil, and it has a little bit higher smoke point too. The other thing that I like to do is I like to flavor my oil. So I've got just a little slice of onion, and what I'm going to do is turn on my heat here, and I'm gonna turn it up to about a little past medium. I've got my trusty cast iron skillet, and I want the skillet to get hot first. Then I'm gonna put in about 1 inch of oil, and then I'm gonna let the onion cook in there and just sort of infuse that onion flavor into the oil. Then I will put the chicken in, and it will give it a magnificent flavor. Trust me when I tell you. Meanwhile, while my cast iron skillet is getting nice and hot, I'm gonna go on and season up my chicken. So you can use any type of Cajun or Creole seasoning, either the Slap Your Mama or the Zatarain's. But today I'm feeling a little spicy. So I found this green egg Nashville hot chicken. So I'm gonna use this because I really wanna kick it up a notch. And just a little bit of the smoked salt. I smoked my own salt on my Traeger, and it is fantastic. I almost forgot. I am going to use the Kentucky Colonel seasoned flour. You can use plain flour if you want and sort of spice it up, but I'm telling y'all, I have found this is the bomb. Either this or some Zatarain, but I'm gonna use this for today. Okay, rinsed off my hands, so now I can add the salt. So just add a little bit of salt, because remember the flour is also seasoned. And I'm just gonna do the front side of these. And now, let's go in and add this Nashville hot. This has some kick to it, let me tell you. You can use anything that you like though, but like I said, I'm trying to kick it up a notch. So I wanted to do a little something that's spicy. You can season both sides, but I just kind of think if you season both sides, it just might be a little bit too much seasoning. So I'm only gonna do one side. So I've got my flour here in the bag. I'm gonna go on and put one in at a time and shake it up. Make sure that it's nice and evenly coated. The oil is nice and hot. I just put a couple of the onions in there just so that I can flavor that oil a little bit. Now I've got a little granulated garlic, and I'm gonna sort of sprinkle that on top of the chicken. I love garlic, so once the onions are sort of done cooking, because actually those are kind of good too to eat, I'll take those out and then I'll put the chicken in. You can see that the flour is sticking to the chicken, and that's exactly what you want. So I like to flour the chicken and then let it sit just for like 5 minutes or so. That does a couple of things. It makes sure that you take some of the chill off of the chicken, because you don't want to fry super cold chicken. If you put cold chicken into the grease, it's going to drop the temperature, and then that's how you get soggy chicken. So you want to let it rest a little bit, and by letting it rest, it does the other thing, which is it lets the flour adhere to the chicken, so therefore it doesn't like float off as much into the grease. And you also want to make sure that you're ready for the chicken once it comes out of the fire or out of the grease. So I like to have just a baking sheet along with like a rack so that I can put the chicken on here to drain the grease. You don't want to stack the chicken like on top of each other or in between paper towels, because then it still gets greasy, and you want a nice crispy crust on that chicken, right? You don't want it soggy. Now I'm just going to go in and put the chicken in. And you want to make sure that when you lay the chicken down, that you lay it away from you so that the oil doesn't splash on you. And see, it's I probably have only about 1 inch of oil in this cast iron skillet. You also don't want to crowd the pan. Dark meat does cook slower, or it requires more cooking time than white meat. So we're going to probably let this cook for about 10 minutes per side, so for a collective time of about 20 minutes. But my grandmother used to tell me that you have to sort of listen to the chicken. Like when you're cooking bacon, and when you first put the bacon in, it sizzles, and then it sort of quiets down a little bit, and you then know that it's either done or time to flip. That's what you got to do with chicken. You got to listen to it. Nah, not quite ready yet. In about 10 minutes, though, you'll be able to hear the difference. So, can you hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of it's time to flip. So it's been like maybe 8 to 10 minutes that I've let them cook. Probably closer to 8. Because these are thin, somewhat thin fillets. And then, because I really want to kick it up a few notches, as soon as it comes out of the grease, I'm either going to put a little aw shit on there, because this is hot and spicy, or this Arizona habanero. It's a dry heat, right? A little bit. Nice and juicy, crispy on the outside. Can you hear that crunch? Good God Almighty, that is some good eating. I'm telling you, it has just enough spice that it's not overpowering at all. And even with the one that has the oh shit, and also the habanero on there, it gives it a nice kick. This is really good. For this and the rest of my recipes, please make sure to subscribe and go on and hit that thumbs up. Help a sister out. All right, until next time, cheers.